believe May is going to be over in just a couple of days. I've been so enamored with everything that's been going on lately, I completely forgot to mention that it was the last day of, this given month. But yeah, we're in the last Thursday in May. Happy Thursday, everyone. I suppose I should get to my low and my high, my act of kindness before I get to what the title of the video is. Foremost, I can say that my low was, it was cold and rainy a lot yesterday. My high was, saw a softball game yesterday, that was a lot of fun. And I got to have my watermelon feta salad, it was awesome. Like, that was my short yesterday on YouTube. That was, seriously, it only got like 1,000 views in like 30 minutes. That's insane. That's a good salad though, man. Shots of honor roll and the watermelon feta salad. And my hashtag 5607. And my act of kindness. You know what? Technically what I did for honor roll was free advertising. So yeah, that's my act of kindness. No, I can do a little. I mean, yeah, technically that is not the kindness, but I think I can do a little bit better. What else did I do yesterday? I know I helped my mom with making dinner, as well as I also mentioned there was something going on yesterday that I'm glad I got to talk to my parents over with. Nothing major, but, if nothing else, I'm glad I got to, talk it over with my parents because, if nothing else, your parents ought to know what to do. But enough about that. As the title of this video would unambiguously suggest, we have another Arc Thoughts today. If you don't know what an Arc Thoughts is, for those of you who are new to watching, well, if you really want to go back, I started doing this in January of 2020 for One Piece, where once a month I would talk about, a given arc in One Piece. I never really made this into full-on videos until we got to, I believe Whole Cake Island was the first Arc Thoughts video I did as like one of these in this format. Or maybe it was Dress Rosa that was in that style, I forget. But, once a month I talk about an arc in a series. And in 2024, when Akira Toriyama died, I decided to do the same thing for Dragon Ball. And that's what I've been doing. Now, keep in mind, these next few Arc Thoughts, with the exception of Daima, Akira Toriyama was technically still alive for. Not technically, he was alive. I'm sorry. However, this arc was very different. See, when Dragon Ball Super first came out, for an anime, I mean, this was the one instance where the anime actually came before the manga, not the other way around like it usually is. And with anime, you could always get like promotional material or advertisements for like what's going to be coming next. Like take what happened after the Resurrection F Saga, for instance. Sorry, must be something major going on. Anyway, after the Resurrection F Saga, we got promotional material for Universe 6, which was great because this was uncharted territory for us. And when, the Goku Black Saga happened, that happened. And then we got the same thing with Tournament of Power. And after Tournament of Power, we had the Broly movie coming. We had promotional material for that. It was awesome. However, for the moment, that's technically where the anime comes to an end. The manga, however, kept things going with this particular arc called the... Hold on. It has a proper... Galactic Patrol Prisoner Saga. That's my notes over there. Galactic Patrol. Actually, I'll keep my notes over here. I should. Just so, hold on a second. Computer mouse. Okay. The Galactic Patrol Prisoner Saga. However, I'm going to call it what virtually everybody else has been calling it, which is the Moro Saga, which is named after the villain of the overall antagonist, in this case, complete villain of this saga, Moro. Now, from the very beginning, I don't think anybody really could ever say anything bad about Moro's character design. This really was the most unique looking villain any Dragon Ball fan really had seen up to that point. The only one that really did look unique, at least in terms of what Akira Toriyama had designed, was probably Cell's first stage, which partly was its design was inspired by the Alien Saga or Alien franchise. Yeah, Akira Toriyama was really big in the 80s action, which is why, with Terminator we got the Cell Saga, but that's neither here nor there. Although, speaking of Cell Saga, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I mean, Moro was essentially, as MasakoX calls him, the Ram Man. Because he was quite literally goated. Yeah, his character design was unique. It was different. It was actually quite refreshing. And on top of that, throughout this saga, you could legit buy him as a villain and someone who was a credible threat. And right away, it does delve into some lore as well. For example, we get the character of Miras, who, like Whis, is an angel. I forget the name of the alcoholic beverage that Miras is supposed to, because the angels and gods are all named after alcoholic beverages. So bear with me. We do get insight as to why angels don't directly fight in a conflict. I mean, if you watch the Broly movie in the Broly saga, you'll notice that Whis really wasn't fighting Broly. He was literally just doing nothing but dodging all of Broly's attacks, not directly engaging with him. And there's a reason for that. Because if angels actually engage in a battle, they lose their angel status. Which, I mean, they allude to that. I mean, they basically do the whole, vanishing, disappearing type thing that happens with stuff like this. But, spoiler alert, Miras does come back, and he looks like he did before. It's just, he doesn't have his immortality anymore. He will eventually grow old and die one day. So I thought that was really interesting. Okay. I guess I really can't beat around the bush about this any longer. Well, before I get into that, literally some of the coolest stuff I've ever seen in Dragon Ball happens. I mean, because remember, this is also the Galactic Patrol Prisoner Saga. A lot of galactic prisoners escaped and head to Earth. We got a glimpse of this for Resurrection F, but we saw a vast majority of all the Z-Fighters arrive and stop all those prisoners, which, they actually included Yamcha in this one, and Chaozu. Not since the Saiyan Saga was everybody together like that. Listen, to this day, Akira Toriyama, God rest his soul, was saying the reason why he didn't really include those characters was because, for the most part, he kind of forgot. Which isn't the greatest excuse, but I'll allow it because at the end of the day, we did get the stories that we got, and they were still entertaining, so I can sort of give that a pass. And, that one image in the manga where, the Z-Fighters are all standing together, and, all the prisoners are surrounding them, that was such a cool moment. That was. And there was also the return of the Grand Kai, who fights Shin's, direct master, or Supreme Kai's, the Supreme Kai's master. That was awesome. That was really great. Alright, I guess there's no beating around the bush with this one. Now, if you're watching this and you're a Dragon Ball fan, you most likely know about the biggest critique that a lot of Dragon Ball fans had with the Moro saga. And that is how, in many ways, it's similar to the Cell Saga. I mean, the way Moro gets stronger throughout this arc was, he was Planet Eater? Is that what he was called? Bear with me. I guess, Planet Moro. Or Moro, Consumer World. Okay. And he really could take a planet's energy and make him stronger. He could also take the energy from opponents, and he would also be stronger. Much like what Cell was doing. Well, here's the thing. That I can kind of give a pass because Cell was already built with the inherent strength of all the cells of the Z-Fighters, Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, Frieza, etc. Like, Cell was already given, that inherent strength. And he did get stronger by absorbing people. With Moro, remember, when we first see Moro, he really is, old and feeble looking. It's only when he's allowed to absorb the energy from planets and other people, that's when that strength sort of comes. However, looking different in appearance throughout as he's getting stronger, that's definitely borrowing from Cell. But easily, one of the biggest offenders of this was when Moro absorbed the power of another android, in this case I believe it was 7-8, and he no longer looks like, as again MasakoX calls him, the Ram Man. In fact, he looks very similar to what Cell did. Cell was after he absorbed Android 17 and Android 18. On top of all that, while the final fight does have a lot of really great moments, specifically one of my favorites was when Vegeta comes back from Yardrat and he learns that fission technique, which for the most part actually separates all the energy that Moro absorbed, and it releases it and brings a lot of things back to normal. Moro pretty much destroys Planet Namek back to normal, which is awesome. Oh, it's new Planet Namek, but whatever. And during all this, Piccolo pretty much says, it really is hard to believe that once upon a time, Vegeta really was our greatest foe. And now, we really couldn't be where we are without him. And the world is going to be saved by him. Granted, what winds up happening is this is before Moro absorbs Android 7-8. Or, what was the name of the android again? I'm sorry. Hold on. Android, hold on. 7-3, I'm sorry. 7-3. I'm sorry. And 7-3 had the ability to copy opponents and copy what they do. So when Moro got 7-8's power, he gained the ability to copy his opponents, including Vegeta's fission. Which means even if Goku and Vegeta were to try fusing against him, Moro could use that fission technique and separate it. So, at this point, we really are in hot water because, again, this follows similar tropes. Like Vegeta doesn't finish the job like he did against Cell. The fact that one thing Moro does have over Cell that I definitely am for in a sadistic way is Moro is just a straight savage in some parts of the story. Like, I think to this day, Moro definitely holds the record for the most serious injury ever given to Goku. Where he literally, takes his arm and, all through Goku's body. It was, listen, I think I know why it's not animated yet, but I'll get to that in a minute. And you're probably wondering, with Moro being a star, how do they stop him? Well, Goku finally masters Ultra Instinct. Or gets to that first mastered Ultra Instinct form. Which reminds me, another thing it borrows from Cell. Twice Goku has clearly could defeat Moro there and then, but he doesn't. In one instance, he gives Moro a sensu bean, like he gave to Cell in the Cell Saga, and actually, what he did with Raditz is, listen, you're beaten, leave. Of course Moro is an irredeemable villain. He's not going to leave. He'll find a way to beat you no matter what he does. To the point where Moro literally does become one with planet Earth, and if nothing's done about it, he'll be destroyed. We do actually get a really cool sequence in the manga where Goku, has a giant avatar of himself fighting Moro after he's, embedded into the planet Earth, and, they have, a struggle. That was actually really cool. It's probably coming across that, with how often the Moro Saga bars from the Cell Saga. I like this arc. I really do. I think there's enough different and unique stuff in here to say, you know what, that was quite enjoyable. I really do like it. However, I think between that, how pretty violent this particular saga was, among other things. I mean, listen, I, like many Dragon Ball fans, all agree we need this saga to be animated. It's been, it's been 5 years since the Moro Saga ended in the manga. We want to see it animated. I mean, one could argue that the biggest reason is, obviously if they're going to animate it with the voice cast for, that they've done with Dragon Ball forever, Masako was 88 years old. And one would argue that it's kind of hard for her to voice Goku now. Well, technically she did it for Dragon Ball Diamond just recently. So, she can still do it. To this day, I don't really know why they're taking so long to really say they're going to finally animate this. Unless they really want to make sure there's no filler throughout this saga, which I could see that being a reason why. After this, it's Granola. Both of those arcs are long over. They could probably animate those now. Again, it's really hard to say, why it hasn't been animated yet as of right now. In fact, I don't think we've really been given an explanation as to why that is. But enough about that. Let's get into what I really want to talk about, along with, obviously I'm talking about the Moro Saga, but let's say one day in the future, they are going to animate this. We are going to get it dubbed in English by the good folks over at Funimation. Funimation has, Sean Schemmel voicing Goku, Christopher Sabat as Piccolo and Vegeta, and Yamcha, Kyle Hebert as Gohan, etc. All the works. Jason Douglas as Beerus, Ian Sinclair as Whis, Monica Rial as Bulma, Brina Palencia will probably be Chaozu again. Those are the characters all the time. I'm sorry, I can't. I mean, if I forget who voices Tien. I'm sorry, but I know who it is. I just can't think of the name at the moment. Point is, like the Funimation cast, they're still gonna. I mean, they literally just dubbed Dino. You know, they're gonna dub this. My question though is, who are they gonna get to voice Moro? I mean, many of you guys probably know this at this point, but my dream job is to become a voiceover actor one day. And by the way, I am not casting myself. No, I am not doing that. No, I'm not. I am not pretty or talented enough to do that. However, I'm a real big fan of casting couches, and I really have been giving this quite a bit of thought. As if they ever finally decide to animate the Moro saga, who are they going to get the voice of Moro? And I actually have, by my count, 10 really great ideas for who should voice Moro. One person, because here's the thing, I don't want to just limit it to people who specialize in anime. Like, this is the Moro saga. If they want to go big, like, I really think they can pull this off. But who I think they should voice Moro, I can think of 10 people, right? So let's get to some people who are known for anime. Kirk Thornton, he'd be a really good pick. Neil Kaplan? Hold on. Let me, is it Neil? Yeah, Neil Kaplan, who's the voice of Moro Uchiha. He'd be a great pick. Kirk Thornton is, actually, technically he's one of the voices, he's the current voice of Shadow the Hedgehog, I believe. He'd be good too. So, Neil Kaplan, Kirk Thornton, they'd make for good choices to voice Moro. Shoot. This one's a bit of a wild card, but actually, speaking of Shadow the Hedgehog, any of the voices for Sonic would work. I would think if they did go with that route, I would probably pick Jason Griffith to voice Moro. He'd be pretty good. Although, as long as we're talking about him, let's talk about Mike Pollock, who's the voice of Dr. Eggman. He'd be a good pick to voice Moro as well. That's 4. Some other non-anime voiceover actors who would work really well. Kevin Michael Richardson, he'd be good. Jeff Bennett, he'd also be really good. Keith David, he'd be really great as well. I mean, he's actually, now we're actually sort of getting more in celebrity territory. I just realized I'm going to come up with more than 10 people. Oops. Ignore the 10 part. Like, these are just the people I think would make for great choices for voicing Moro. Rob Paulson wouldn't be bad. In fact, that would be kind of neat if he did it. Also, one thing, before I continue, when MasakoX was doing, like, his chapter reviews way back in the day, he thought that Moro should have a Scottish accent. I never really got that when seeing Moro. I mean, I get why, but I didn't really see it. Not that it's not a bad idea. In fact, if they went with a Scottish accent, I'd be all for it. But I personally wasn't reading that when I was reading the manga. Anyway. You know what? We haven't seen Mark Hamill voice a powerful villain in a long time. I think the last truly great villain that he voiced was Firelord Ozai from Avatar: The Last Airbender. He'd be good. Steve Bloom. He wouldn't be bad voicing Moro. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing what he'd do there. You know, you can't really talk about animated villains without talking about Clancy Brown. Yes, the voice of Mr. Krabs, but he was also Surtur from Thor Ragnarok. He was also Lex Luthor. Dr. Neocortex and Uka Uka in the original Crash Bandicoot trilogy. So trust me, Clancy Brown can play a powerful villain. He'd be great as Moro here. Ron Perlman. Oh, full stop. Ron Perlman was my original choice to play Zed in One Piece film Zed. They didn't wind up doing that. But Ron Perlman is Moro. He'd be good. Like, he's the Lich from Adventure Time. Slade from Teen Titans. Well, Deathstroke, but everybody calls him Slade. Yeah, man. Ron Perlman would be awesome as Moro. Oh, my God. There's one more I want to mention who'd be good. And I want you to bear with me. As of this video, I've seen this guy pop up in a lot of stuff. And I do mean a lot of stuff. Like, he's grown a lot in popularity. And after seeing him play Conquest in Invincible, oh yeah, I'm going there. I think they should get Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I think he'd be really good as Moro. Actually, what am I? I mean, don't get me wrong, Jeffrey Dean Morgan's great, but now that I think about it, another great, actor who's known for voiceover, and technically has done voiceover because he did voiceover for Power Rangers, Bryan Cranston. Yes, Heisenberg. Yeah, Bryan Cranston, he'd be good. Yeah. I just gave you guys a lot of seriously, I just gave you guys a lot of really great choices for who could voice Moro if they ever dub it into English. All the universe has to does is I say the universe, really the good people of, Toei Animation and, Shueisha and everybody else responsible for Dragon Ball has got to make it happen. Matthew Mercer wouldn't be bad either. Although I would say Matthew Mercer would be for, I'll say that for the next Art Thoughts. But yeah, man, the Moro Saga. I mean, yeah, a lot of people like to compare it to the Cell Saga. I can't see it. I don't see it either. But I still had a great time reading it and watching it. Reading it. Sorry. Well, I say watching it. It hasn't been animated yet. But when it does get animated, I'm still going to sit down and watch. I'm still going to have a grand old time. And I only hope that other Dragon Ball fans are able to feel that way too, if and when it does get animated. Shout out to MasakoX to referring to Moro as the Ram Man. But seriously though, check out MasakoX's channel. He's really cool. Anyway, I hope you liked this video. If you like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow on social media. As always, I'm your homemade video for all of you guys watching your video. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Thursday. And remember, if you guys want to talk journalists, we're here to lend you always your back. Take care and make good choices. 607 all day, baby. I had my legs crossed for that. That's how comfortable it was. My legs were crossed.